Sisters on Your Sofa, episode 16. I am Crystal Gornto, the founder of HeartStories, and we are here today with Brandi Voth. She's the founder and author and host of The Power Project and the Power Hat Company. Welcome, Brandi. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
I appreciate it. I feel special on the sofa.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're actually on the sofa instead of on the Zoom.
Oh my gosh, I know.
So today we are going to talk about creating impact in communities through using business for good, business for social good. So, Brandi, you wear all the proverbial hats. You are a founder, an author, a podcast host, a mom, obviously doing all of this social entrepreneurship. So tell us, I want to hone in today on the Power Hat Project. So tell us how it got started, what it is, how it got started.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of
Yeah,
course.
so I do wear all of the hats. I feel like maybe the
Amazing.
mom and the wife hat are a little crooked right now, but the others are really straight.
Oh, that's good.
But thankfully we have grace,
Yes.
within the family. So
Yes.
I am the founder of the Power Hat Company, as you said, and we are a social enterprise. We believe in social entrepreneurship and business as a tool for good and holding ourselves as business owners to a higher standard of responsibility within business. And
so good.
I created the hat company out of necessity for creating transitional employment for women that I mentor and coach and teach in business. So
I forgot the mentor part. We add that to your list of hats. Yes,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so I started mentoring survivors of trafficking about 4 years ago.
It's incredible.
And I teach a life and business coaching course once a week. And we walk through gifts and strengths and limiting beliefs and mindset and obstacles along a vocational journey. And so in that time period when we would go over what your greatest obstacle was in life and what you foresee as a roadblock along your journey, the recurring theme was, I'm in a program.
Yes.
Would you hire me? Or
Yes.
I have a criminal background, so I can't get the job that I want to get. Or I have gaps in my resume, or I lack business skills and training that are marketable. And so being an entrepreneur, myself and my husband, we have a sickness of just starting business.
This is what we do.
Yes. And so I came home and I thought, okay, what do I have that I can utilize to help solve this problem? And so I said, all right, we're starting a hat company because I love hats. I've
Yay.
always wanted a hat line or a hat company. And I just thought this is a way that we can provide some transitional employment and also provide business skills, training skills, be a credible reference on a resume.
Sure.
And so we have girls in a few different states that hand stamp our leather bands that go on our hats, and you choose your
Show
power
us
word.
yours.
So you choose your
Ooh.
power word on your leather band. Mine's ambassador. It's what I do in life.
Yes.
And so they hand stamp the bands. I'm able to ship leather and tools to them wherever they are. And it's something that they can do entry-level position to make an income while they're in the midst of transitioning through programs or back into life, society. And then along the way, they also gain valuable business skills and training, and they learn about marketing and sales. And then I'm a resource and a reference that they have moving forward to pursue whatever goals and dreams they have along the journey.
It's incredible. So the hats, where do you get the hats? Do you make the hats?
Sure.
Do you design the hats? Tell us about
Great
the hats.
question.
I know that we got the bands, which is incredible.
Yes, I went into it with the idea of wanting a hat company. I had zero retail experience and zero ideas of how to actually manufacture hats.
Oh my gosh.
And so I did what I do best, which is Google a whole lot of things and reach out to mentors because I believe in the power of mentorship.
Yes.
And so I do design the hats. I come up with the styles I want. I work with a manufacturer to manufacture the hats. They're made in Texas. And
Very
our
cool.
wool is highly ethically sourced wool from South Texas. And then our bandanas are made from fabric that's hand woven by artisans in Guatemala.
Oh my
We'll be
goodness. So
taking-
everything about it.
It's all social levels of responsibility. Our feathers are eco-friendly. They're byproducts of other industries or a natural molten process.
Wow.
So I just love hats. I've worn hats all my life. I grew up
Same.
my grandma had me an Easter hat every year,
Yes.
for church. And so I just love hats. And this provided an avenue to take a passion that I have and also attach it to purpose.
Yes, incredible. It's a purpose for yourself and for so
Yes.
many others. It's really, really such a cool tie-in. So what are your goals for like long-term big hairy dream for the the Power Hat Company?
Oh my goodness. So when I went into it, my goal was launch a hat company online, sell enough hats to employ one person, right?
Oh my
and
gosh,
that
that's
was just
amazing.
my goal. And so we've moved into where we're assembling a team at this point. We're moving into the wholesale side of things, whereas instead of just being online, we're going to look into some distributors and grow the brand. And while that's something I personally struggle with as an entrepreneur, because I want all the control of all the little things and make sure my mission conveys with the product, you know. So we're navigating those steps right now. So the goal would be to successfully partner with the right partnerships in this like shift of the business model.
Amazing. So how does that tie in? I know when we talked on the phone, you have the flour mill and where you have your outdoor market right now.
Yes.
Will that be a part of the long-term vision to have the flagship store?
So it really is, because, and it seems like a whole lot of things like floating in the air right now, but they kind of all land beautifully in one. And so the flour mill itself, we're working to create a socially responsible market there. So we pop up every Saturday, and we have businesses that are either 90% handmade products, or they have to provide transparent sourcing for what they don't make themselves.
Yes.
They have to verify there's no sweatshops and no labor trafficking involved in the process, because if we have a maker's market, but you're printing, you know, too blessed to be stressed on a t-shirt that maybe an 8-year-old's made in a sweatshop overseas, like that's a problem.
Right.
You know, that's something that we need to look into. So we're setting a higher level and a higher standard for people to really be the entrepreneur that educates themselves and then educates the consumer as to what they're purchasing.
Yes.
So ideally, if all things work the way that we would like them to go, we will have a flagship store there in this 100-year-old flour mill that the developer has grandiose visions for, and we're just trying to leverage all of it as a tool for good.
Yes, both for you and all of the other makers in the community who gets to learn about social good. There's been such an uprising of this social good and, you know, B business. What is it called?
Like the B Corps.
The B Corp. But doing something in person where you're bringing all of those together is just incredible.
Yeah, it's been an opportunity to have the conversations where I'm in small town USA. It's not really a conversation that's brought to the table.
Right.
I didn't think that I would put my hat company in my hometown for this reason. I thought I needed somewhere that was a little more modern and evolved, you know?
Yes.
And then the more conversations I had, it just became really apparent that this is an opportunity to educate the community on how we do business and how we do it really well.
Yes. So tell me, what is one of your favorite stories about the Power Hat Company so far?
I have so many.
I know, I'm sure there's so many.
I have so many, but I will say that one of my favorites is I have a gal that has been out of state stamping bands for me, and she's really great at stamping the bands. And she was in town visiting for a couple of weeks, and I said, you know, hey, I'm working this market if you want to come. And most of the time, the girls that I provide transitional employment for safety and security reasons don't come out in public or at the events with me. And so I said, you know, do you want to come to market with me today, you know, while you're in town? And she said, oh, that would be so cool, because I could stamp custom bands on site if people want me to. And I'm like, yeah, that's such a cool idea. Then we really have the creator piece of the business. So she was there and she was stamping, and one lady asked her to make a custom band for her. And she said, I want my word to be non-traditional. That's the word that I'm choosing. And
like all the way around the hat for starters.
Yeah. That's what she was like, oh my gosh, this is like longer than we usually do. And I've got to do my spacing. And she was kind of, you know, working under pressure and stamped it out. And the lady tried on the hat, and she told me later, she said, do you know how rewarding it was to see her confidence be raised when she put something on that I've had a hand in making? Like, she said, I love that. And that made me feel so proud and honored to be part of this mission. And
oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's someone that has, you know, it's been a really long time since she's had pride in her life and in her work. And so, it's empowering for her, and it's empowering for the consumer, the customer that puts the hat on. So
yeah. And you get to see your passion like coming to change lives. That's amazing. So to juxtapose that, tell me about a time with specifically the Power Hat Company or the Power Project, any of the things that you've been working on that has been one of the most challenging things, a story, one of the most challenging times.
Yeah, so that was 2020.
Oh, the whole year.
The entire year.
Yes.
But seriously, I was set to launch. I had done about 6 months to a year's worth of work and strategizing and ideas of moving forward with this company and this idea that I had. And I was set to launch in March of last year. I had community mentors lined up to teach the girls how to stamp the bands. I had my sample hats made. I was poised to place my production order for the hats themselves. And then I had a conference in LA that I was speaking at and launching the hat company, launching a book. Literally between the days of March 13th and March 19th, all of those things were scheduled.
Oh my word.
And so within 48 hours, everything came crashing down, and the factory that printed my books was closed, and the factory that was going to produce my hats was closed, and the aftercare home was closed to any visitors, so mentors couldn't come in and teach. And we were literally set to like push go on this entire year of a launch. And
that week. Oh,
yeah, and word. So I spent about 2 days kind of on the floor of what now, and why would I have felt so deeply in my heart that this was what I was meant to be doing right now with my life, for it to just be pulled away.
Right.
And I spent about 2 months of kind of just sitting in that space of, I'm a very driven person. I'm a person that I like goals and achievements and all the things. And I literally spent like 2 months just saying, I don't know. I don't know what's next. And woke up one morning and decided that we move forward. We just learned to move forward in a different manner than what we were going to. And it's been so much better. Like the way that it has launched is better than what it would have been had we gone with the first one.
Good. Oh my gosh. It doesn't always turn out that way, especially not from 2020, but that's incredible. So coming through that, I'm sure there's a lot of answers to this question, but what is bringing you hope and joy right now in this crazy world?
Oh, what's bringing me joy is some really amazing relationships with new girlfriends that I've created through this market. And
oh, that's so good.
Just getting to be in business with people that hold similar values as you.
Sure.
And drives and achievements, because you know how it is when we're at home, like building and creating and doing all the things.
Yes.
It's so easy to feel a little lonely.
Yeah.
Even though we can have like this online market and
yes.
these people that we an online community that we talk to, you know, but there's just nothing that really replaces that true like friendship of talking about the nitty, the gritty, the pretty, all of it.
Yes, the sponge rollers from your boys here last night.
Exactly.
Totally. We had a little moment before. Well, I love that, of course, girlfriends. Girlfriends are bringing us joy everywhere. That's what we're all about. So that's incredible. I love that that's true for you right now. Tell us if you were sitting here, do you have a sister?
I don't.
You don't?
No, I have one brother. Okay. He's awesome.
Oh, well, if you had a sister and you were sitting here with a little sister, I guess similar to what you do in your mentorship, but if you could only give one piece of advice, like what's your very best, hey girl, this is my advice for you for your life, what would that be? Your best big sister advice?
Yeah, I love that. I just would say that never, ever feel intimidated or scared or worried about stepping into a call that is bigger or greater than you see anyone doing in your life right now. Because if that call's been put on your heart, then you're meant to live it out.
That's so good. Oh, so I have to go a little step further there. How do you personally cultivate courage in that? Like, how would you say, if you're never going to be afraid to do that, how do you do that?
Oh, I think that's one of my favorite questions ever, because I'm scared of everything daily. Okay?
Oh my gosh, right.
And I think that it's very easy to look at someone and say they're doing the big, audacious, like bold things in life and think of them as fearless.
Right.
But courage can only exist in the presence of fear.
Exactly.
Because it's pressing through that fear and taking those steps and literally like doing it scared that make you be able to stand in that place of courage that says, I'm doing this, even if it scares the crap out of me.
Right. And even as like 2020 did for you, that I may fall down or get my legs cut completely out from under me. And I'm going to have to sit there for a minute, but I'm getting back up. Like that's so good. Okay, so 2 last questions. One is, what if you could write a permission slip for yourself, something that you always felt like you couldn't do, but now you know you can, and you would just like start out, here's your permission, go do this thing, or the same permission for another woman, or other women, maybe the women that you serve, maybe other women within your community at the flour mill, what would you give a woman permission for? What would the permission slip be for?
Boldly own your truth and your gifts in a not egotistical manner, but in an unapologetic manner.
Yes.
Be who you were created to be.
So good. Oh my gosh, that's so good. It takes all of us different lengths of times in life to learn that, but once you learn it and once you start to live it, it really is life-changing.
It is,
so,
truly.
It's a wonderful permission slip.
Yes.
Okay, so how can our community of sisters find you? How can we find you? How can we support this amazing work that you're doing?
Awesome. So you can find me on all platforms of social media as the Power Hack Co. Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever, wherever you like to hang out. I'm an old school Facebook girl personally. I feel like that's a better, easier to make community on, but I love Instagram and looking at the pretty pictures.
Yes,
and then you can go to the-powerproject.com for all things, including my podcast, my book, the hats, my Power Squad Facebook group. We have a great group of gals that we hang out with where we provide some business coaching, some life coaching, support, your favorite flats that look cute, whatever, all the things. Yes.
Oh, it's so good. Well, thank you. Thank you for being with us today. It was so good to get to hang out on the sofa,
I know.
hear your wisdom and your beautiful story. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.